cuts me off and he goes, well, listen, I'll tell you what, right now, if you don't get together and get in line, gone. Okay? Got it? I didn't say a damn word, and he just hung up the phone. Hi, I'm John Timmerman, and I'm growing my hair out to look like Mel Gibson in Lethal Weapon 3.
I'm Rob Schlager. Some people play hard to get. I just play hard to win.
And I'm Al Kutri, and I'm growing my hair out to look like Lou Diamond Phillips in La Bamba.
And we are the co-founders of the NoBull company.
Hey everybody, today's episode is brought to you by a command from me. It's not from a business, it's from me. The command is, don't be a dick.
What's up, Buzz Nation? Welcome to I'm a Little Buzzed. We're coming to you straight out of Syracuse Studios. Syracuse is Syracuse's newest co-working space combining creativity, comfort, and community. Check them out at syracuse.com. This is the show where we bring a little bit of life to business, all while sharing a cup of whatever gets us buzzed and discussing topics that gets us buzzed. What's getting us buzzed right now? What are we drinking?
That's Death Wish coffee.
Kapow!
Fantastic.
So for those of you watching the show for the first time, we drink some delicious coffee and or alcoholic, sometimes non-alcoholic beverages. Yeah, coffee or cocktails. I love it. So grab your cup of coffee, grab your cup of whiskey, whatever time it is you're drinking this, and join us. But before we get into today's show, fellas, what's getting you buzzed about life right now? Yeah.
My haircut at 1 o'clock, although it's...
Don't do it.
I'm doing it. I mean, this is crazy. I mean, look at that. It goes down to like, are you
Can we go slow motion real quick? Can you just... Yeah, can you... No, you gotta go full speed because the...
I was like...
Dude, really slow motion.
It's not moving, guys. Yeah, but anyway.
That's a good looking name, man.
This is the main, and I'm getting a haircut at 1. Not just a little off, back and sides. I'm keeping it long though.
I'll shed it to you at 1 for your hair.
So here's what it is.
Strands.
1 o'clock.
Done. What's getting you buzzed, Al? Rob?
Well, Al, Rob, hello, John.
Hi, Tony.
Rob. Jim. You see Marcia? Marcia?
Robert.
So, Robbie, what's getting you buzzed?
Well, as much as I hate to admit it, I'm going to take some golf lessons.
Dude, why do you hate to admit that?
You know what?
Tiger Woods takes golf
I had
lessons.
this mental thing in my head of like, well, just because you played golf since you could walk, you should know better. Well, I had a freaking disastrous round
Oh boy,
at Saratoga National last week, and I'm like, all right, I'm done.
good for you.
So I'm going to go take some freaking lessons and get my game. And every year I say I'm going to this is the year I'm going to work on the game, blah, blah, blah. And then every year shit gets in the way and I don't do anything with it.
Yeah.
It's tough when it's like anything else in life. If you're not doing it consistently, you're never going to get, better, right?
Yeah. We only have a few months left. Though you do it like now, you have to wait till
I thought about
spring.
that. I'm like,
Go over winter.
I'm like, you know what? Then I won't. I'll wait till spring. I'm like, screw it. I'm just going to go do it now.
Yeah. I mean, we still have a solid 8 weeks left of golf.
Yeah, and then I'll go to the dome and I'll just keep working through the winter or whatever.
Yeah, golf dome.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yep.
Hit them straight.
I'm
Hit
excited.
them far.
Yeah.
Putt them light.
You?
I don't know.
I was like, I wonder how many he's going to go.
Metaphors. What would those be? Those would be metaphors.
I don't know.
Anyways, football. I'm super pumped. NFL's back. I'm a sports fan, but I'm a football nut, like the Rams.
Yeah.
And they won
I
last
saw that
night.
picture you posted of you and your whole family and the Rams, everything.
Yeah.
The baby was in a Rams, and everything.
Yeah. Oh, helmet. That's what I'm gonna get him. A little baby helmet.
There you go.
I'm a huge
Just
Rams.
faux horns.
Yeah.
Faux horns. Yeah.
Yeah, like one of those old football helmets, like
Yeah.
the leather ones, but it'll have ram horns coming off the
Baby.
side of it.
Halloween's coming.
Yeah. So I'm excited. I had sports deprivation for a while.
Did they play it already?
Yeah, they played last night.
Yeah.
And they won against the Cowboys. Cowboys.
There you have it. there you have it.
There it is.
That's what John's buzzed about.
Yeah. I don't get too animated about very much.
Do you yell? This is a serious question. Do you yell at the TV?
Sometimes.
I'm kidding.
Sometimes. I was trying to be quiet because Tripp could only watch kickoff last night because it was late.
You yell at the TV.
But I was like, mother, toned down, like silent screams.
I get you.
Anyways,
Gates popping.
yeah. All right, everyone. We're gonna get into our new show, our new format. It's not new per se, but we're developing the show so that this is gonna be a solo show. This is gonna be where the three of us chum it up and talk about topics about life and business. Eventually, this will be once a week. We'll have a live version once a week. But I'm super excited about a new segment that we have. It's replacing our previous pregame. It's called the Sippy Sip. Al, what's the Sippy Sip?
The Sippy Sip is free association, and just first thing that comes to your mind, please, no filters allowed in this Sippy Sip section. So if things get weird,
So Rob versus
so
myself.
I will say words
Okay.
that I come up with, usually several minutes before the show. and Robbie and John, whoever says it first gets the point. I would like you both to respond.
Yep.
But the first person that comes out with something that makes sense,
Okay.
you get the point. There's only 10 words, so we 10 responses. I might keep track of.
Let's do this.
All right,
Ready?
go.
Beef steak.
Steak.
Cow.
Oh, Rob. Matzo balls.
Cheese ball.
Italian. I know.
George Clooney.
Hot.
I got nothing there.
I have such a man crush. on
That's
George
why
Clooney.
this game will win.
I was going to say ocean, but you go ahead and take that
John
point.
was like, I don't want to have sex with him.
George Clooney, I love you. I love you.
Okay.
Focus.
Hosiery.
Garden.
Stockings.
A baby toe.
Trip. In mouth.
Oh,
Toes usually end up in his mouth.
well, this is a terrible
Ours
segue.
included.
This is a terrible segue. Pee Wee Herman.
Weird.
Bike.
Oh, okay. I see where you went with that. The bike. Britney Spears.
Old.
Dude. I was going to say wrinkle.
Sorry, Brittany.
Oh, guys, are you serious? She's like our age.
Yeah, I'm old.
Yeah. Okay.
She's wore out.
Pickleball.
Fun. Wicked fun. Wicked.
Whiskey. You said pickleball, I was thinking pickleback.
Oh, pickle bats.
Oh, I'm thinking.
Also fun.
I'm thinking pickleball.
By the way, when are you going to 75 hard so you can drink whiskey and smoke cigars?
Well,
Or are you going for another round?
Cigars was good. I did not eliminate that. September 25th.
Can you have like one? Can we have one day?
I'm just.
I've got a gap in there before I start the next round.
All right. Cool.
Yeah. Smash Mouth.
Oh damn. Super literal.
Obnoxious.
I like rap. Although catchy. So don't those usually go hand in hand? Like the most obnoxious songs are usually like top
they're the best.
10 Billboard 100 songs.
Yeah. Remember Chumbawamba?
Yeah. Also, wicked
Tum
obnoxious.
Thumper?
No,
Alright, anyway.
But can't get it out of your head and then you go crazy.
Smooth Jazz.
KG.
What?
KG.
Oh,
I thought you said KG.
I thought you said Gagey. I'm like,
On my
What the hell is
playlist,
KG?
super hard right now. Every evening, Lindsay and I listen to it.
Smooth Jazz?
Yeah.
Who are you listening to?
Oh, good.
It's just
I thought for sure you're both going to say Al, but he didn't.
Sorry. I don't know. It's a playlist on Amazon's.
Oh, yeah.
What is it? What?
Music. Are you trying to make another kid? Like what? I don't
No, it's just good. We just drink, sipping a glass of
I know.
wine, making dinner. Like,
Yeah, you can't beat it.
I really can't.
So that was our first experience with
Sippy sip.
Sippy
See,
Sip.
we don't really know who won because we didn't keep track. But
Wow.
graphics, we'll figure it
And
out.
again, nobody.
We should figure out a way to like,
Bing, like a point.
yeah, we can do that in post. But then what do we do? Like whoever, like if I win, we'll donate to this charity or like to
yeah,
give
we can
away
do that.
something cool or something like that. If Rob wins,
Cool
then we'll.
giveaway. He gets to pick whatever.
Yeah.
We'll draw something out of our goodie bag to give away to the
I like it.
peeps.
I like
Take
it.
it.
All right, everyone. Today's show, we're talking about what happens when your boss is a. But first, now is the time when we cheers to life, love, lots of laughter, and kicking a rock down the road until it goes into the grass, and then you just stop.
Hitting when it hits the grass.
Ruins all the fun.
It's like takes all the fun.
Yeah, because
out.
you can't kick it out of the grass.
Nobody
It's
goes
done.
to the grass and gets it. You just stop.
Unless you're kicking it in your mower's grass, in your neighbor's grass, and he runs over the lawnmower.
Yeah, and then kicks it back at you.
out.
It's all fun and games until it comes back and breaks the window.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In your face. And you're like Final Fantasy.
Yeah,
Final Fantasy.
takes a tooth
Is that
out.
what that is? What's the movie where like shit like that happens?
Oh, Final
except he
Destination.
died? Oh yeah.
Final Fantasy is like a video game.
Okay.
Yeah, what's
Moving.
going on in your house?
Nothing. I sold all my games.
So, fellas, what happens when your boss is a dick?
You quit.
Yep. I don't know. Depends on who you are.
You quit and start your own business.
Yeah. Also, this is a really strange topic probably.
You cannot say topic today.
I can't say half the words
Tropic.
I'm saying.
Tropic, typic.
Timber, tambourine.
So anyway, it's
But-
a weird topic. Why?
Yeah, because coronavirus caused 30 million people would lose their jobs.
Oh,
And
yeah.
If you have a job and your boss is like you don't really have a choice. Plus, a lot of people don't have a choice anyways if your boss is a but
Oh my god.
it didn't work. What? Speak.
TV
It's not
timeout.
recording.
God.
But you know what?
All right. Let's just use the
It's
phone's
not
audio.
like recording because there's no card in.
Where is it? It's right in front of you.
Dude.
What's up, NoBull Nation? You all know that our conference is getting closer by the minute. On April 8th, 2021, we are holding NoBull 2020 2.0 presented by Bankers Healthcare Group to teach you how to get more out of life and business. We've got an amazing lineup of speakers. Gary Vaynerchuk has built a conglomerate media company, $200 million ad agency, co-founder of Vayner Sports and a bunch of other crazy media companies. AJ Vaynerchuk, his brother, is the CEO of Vayner Sports, a new age sports agency. David Meltzer is the co-founder with Warren Moon of Sports One Marketing, a multi-$100 million sports agency. Constance Schwartz-Marini co-founded Smack Entertainment with Michael Strahan and Aaron Andrews. I mean, these are crazy successful people that are going to teach you how they've grown their businesses. And you can get a free ticket, $250 front section ticket. All you have to do is head to empathywines.com and order 12 bottles of delicious wine and use the code NoBull2020 at checkout, and bam, you get a free ticket. So if you love wine, it's fall, we're headed into delicious red wine season. We got red, rosé, white wine. Order 12 bottles of your favorite wine. Use the code NoBull2020 at checkout, and you will be sent a free ticket. empathywines.com, NoBull2020 at checkout. We'll see you there. Okay, today's show, we are talking about what happens when your boss is a But first, now is the time when we cheers to life, love, lots of laughter, and kicking a rock down the road until it goes into the grass, and then you just stop.
Hate it when that happens.
Yeah, who kicks a rock into the grass? It just makes it harder. There's
Wow.
too much friction, you know.
That's it.
Yeah.
You're done. The game
It's
is
done.
over.
You just keep
You
walking.
keep walking, you keep moving on with your life.
Yeah, until you find the next rock.
And then you start kicking that.
But seriously, what happens when your boss is a right? So this is stems from our conversation about leadership and company culture and all of the things that now we're learning in the world of social media, people sharing their experiences. We're learning about people like Steve Jobs, who built this super successful company, but apparently was a shitty boss or a dick. And
Ellen.
Ellen.
Now that we're hearing
Oh,
about
what
her.
hapund with Ellen?
Oh, I mean, she's just.
I saw a
put
few
through the
things,
fire
but
right now,
she-
employees are coming out saying things about her, how terrible she is.
Oh,
which
multiple ones, or was it just like one that came out?
multiple and confirmations that all these rumors are true.
Really?
Yeah, and
I only read a headline. I didn't really read into
I
it.
don't know if it's who really knows the story, but
Yeah. I mean, listen, everyone has their off
that
day.
took like 20 years for that to come out.
Yeah.
I don't know why it came out, but it did come out like during these times.
Which is crazy because Ellen is like she's on a pedestal for being such a kind human being,
totally. And she let's not take that. She probably is a kind human being, but
Yeah.
at the office, what's being said, I'm not going to say that it's fact because we don't know, but that she's a.
There's something interesting though about when you're in that position, right? Which I don't know anything about because obviously she's like basically Oprah level status. You can be a kind human being and have a need to control the things to make your brand and the quality of your business and everything to the level you want, right? So that's an interesting sort of blurred line of how do you keep the quality of your brand, the quality of your business, the things that you want micromanaged because you know you want them this way, but then do it in a way that people who you're telling what to do don't view it as you're telling me what to do, you're micromanaging me, you won't let me do this, that can, so that's a conversation all in itself that doesn't really have a clear-cut line. But what do you guys think?
I would preface it. So I'm a micromanager big time. I'm like, if I hire somebody to do something, I'm always wanting to make sure that they do it the way I want them to do it.
Yeah.
And it's a huge flaw. So I basically tell them in advance, like, hey, listen, this is my nature, and I will probably be slightly annoying. So just forgive me in advance, but just know that I need this to be perfect, or I need this to be X, Y, Z. So like, please forgive me if you feel like I'm being a micromanager. It's because I am, and I'm sorry in advance. And I tell them ahead of time that that's part of the learning curve together.
Do you think there's a way to micromanage and still be a great leader?
Yes.
How do you do that? Like picture a boss you've had in the past that you loved, if you had one, or picture one that you hated, if you had one, and just think about if the one you loved micromanaged a lot of what you did, would you still have that respect for them, or would you say like, man, just get off my nuts, like, because like that, to me, there's certain things that a leader needs to micromanage, or could need to micromanage because nobody else in the company is good enough to do that particular thing.
Right.
So there's some things that maybe they would offload and have them done 70% as good as they could, and it's okay. But there's some things that maybe they need to micromanage because they are the absolute best at it. I'll give you an example. Right now in Good Monster, I need to micromanage some of the high level client relationships,
right,
when they get into talks about finance, budgets, deliverables, things that they thought we were doing, scopes that my team, if they handled, would just be like a deer in headlights,
right,
and not know how to talk about that. And I can talk as the CEO and the owner in a way that they can't, right? So I don't foresee someone replacing me there for quite a while. So I need to micromanage that,
right,
and nobody else has any issue there.
Well, it all depends on how you choose to micromanage it. So my beef is like, don't be a micromanager when you have not put the structure in place to do the things that need to be done. So if you're freaking sitting behind your desk as the owner or a manager, and it's the Wild West, you can't step in and then try to micromanage everything when you didn't set the team up to win to begin with. Right? So many of these companies today, especially ones that have been in business for a long time, we're talking multiple generations, right? So they, we've always done it this way. Well, does that mean it's the way you've always got to do it? Well, it's just the way we've always done it.
Yeah.
Are you the type of boss who is so set in your ways and your ego is so big that you can't put things in check to say, hey, look, do you have a new idea of how we could do this better, more efficiently, more effectively, save money? Let's hear it and let's talk it out and have a conversation versus, nope, it's just the way we've always done it. This is the way we're going to do it. And then you micromanage the snot out of your people when you didn't set them up for success to begin with.
right.
I think that's one of the single most important things, regardless of whether you micromanage or you don't, regardless of whether you're talking to your employees every single day or once a month, right, is to give them a sense of ownership in whatever they're doing, right? So that's a quick and easy way to fix micromanaging. That's a quick and easy way to fix, it's not a way to fix a shitty personality, but it's a way to make your employees, your team, more invested in whatever you're doing, is to go to them and say, hey, here's what we're thinking about doing.
Right.
What do you think about this?
Oh,
even if they're the
huge.
janitor.
So
like,
what's our definition of this is gonna sound weird, but what's our definition of being a right? So like, to me, having a boss that's a micromanager, that's not being a that's just being a micromanager. But what is
it could be.
It could be if you don't do it properly.
Right.
It's how do you handle it, right?
Yeah, when we say like, oh, what do you do when your boss is Well, what does that mean? Like, what is a boss? Examples.
I mean,
of
I'll
that.
give you some examples. One is, this is an example that I don't have personal experience with other than through my wife, Lindsay, but one of her old job, she was in a managerial position, right? So manager usually means you manage things, you manage people, you manage initiatives, whatever it might be. But no matter what she would take ownership of and try to make a decision, her boss would then come in and basically do it however she wanted anyways, whether it would completely erase the 10, 20, 30, 50 hours she did, or if it used that and then built on it or something like that, right? So aside from personality dickishness, I think that is not a good way to approach micromanaging, is to basically
have someone do work and then do it all over.
Yeah,
Throw
not
it out
even
the
take
window.
into account what they've done or use it as a teaching moment or anything like that, is to basically make it dead space. Dead work.
Total waste of time.
Total waste of time is to basically say, and by the way, this whole time they're saying, oh, do this how you want. You're a manager. Take charge. Take ownership. Like, that's what we want of you.
Yeah.
And then she'd come around and
Undermine.
do it and be like, no, that's not how we do it. Actually, to your point, they would say that a lot. No, we've always done it this way. That's not how you do it.
Right.
I think so much of it comes down to the company's culture. It's really a culture thing.
Yeah.
If the company culture, in a lot of places there isn't one. It's non-existent.
Mm-hmm.
And because they've always done things for a certain way for so long, they don't even want to try to establish a company culture.
Yeah.
So now what are you doing? That's where everybody gets pissed off, bent out of shape. They feel taken advantage of. They feel mistreated. All of these negative things happen because you didn't want to take the time to put a company culture in place. And so why is that? Why would business owner or owners not want to invest and have a company culture in place? And to me, usually that means there's something going on in the background where they don't want to be exposed as owners. So whether that's, they don't want to be held accountable. Well, how can we have a company culture that looks like this when owners act this way?
Yeah.
And they're not willing to change. So therefore, they either become super hypocritical just by nature because this is right. As you said, this is how you've always done it. So today you need to step aside and put management in place and let that management team set up the company culture and then let it flow through. Or you've got to change something yourself.
Yeah.
And how long do you want to let that go for? So we were talking earlier about COVID and, excuse me, how COVID has, really been an exposure, a magnifying glass. So if your boss was a dick prior to COVID, chances are you really saw their true colors come out during COVID. Greed, being hypocritical, being unfair, being selfish. Or if they were good people with a great company culture, they went above and beyond for their people. And when I say above and beyond, we're not just talking about getting the funding and the money that was available to take care of themselves and make it look good. That's all false bullshit. That they genuinely did the best they could. Maybe the owners went without so that the team could have what they needed to take care of their families. When you do stuff like that for your team, they're going to go above and beyond for you when things really
Yeah.
And so what kind of business do you want? And then that's when you've got to look at yourself in the mirror every day and say, hey, did I do the best I could for my team, or is it just all really about me, the big house, the fancy cars, the paycheck, and my lifestyle, and it doesn't matter what the rest of these people do or how they live. I don't care.
Yeah, and I think there's I'm thinking about a few different scenarios, like one you just mentioned of maintaining their own lifestyle, right? So their own, whatever it is, house and money and revenue and their level, even when times get hard, right? So they'll shit on their employees however much they can while still keeping the business afloat, or collect the money, the PPP money, and serve themselves, right? You have that. Then you have what I would call the more old school view, which is the leader views themselves as the dictator, right?
Right.
This is a very old school, previous generation to millennial, and maybe even the one before that. But what are you? Generation Y? Is that right? Gen Y. So I think pre that is a very old school view of business, which is you keep everything close to your chest.
Yep.
You don't show feelings. You don't show weaknesses. You're up in the
glass.
The glass. You know what I'm talking about? Like the old where the boss is like looking over the whole worker bee.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's a very old school mentality. And if times are tough, you don't tell you don't tell people what's going on. If times are good, you don't tell people what's going on. If you're making moves, you don't tell people what's going on. If somebody's fired, you have a team of people walking them out the door, and they'll mail you your stuff later. That's a very old school culture. And I think it's very rare to take a business like that and get them to understand that by being empathetic with your team and being a little vulnerable with your team and talking to them about how's your family life doing, and how, you're not going to get very many people to be able to make that shift.
No.
They don't get it. In my experience of the people that I know in that world, it's not something they're really they don't see the value in it.
Or something drastic has to happen, like a bad scenario in their life to where they see.
Right. Or it's a come to Jesus moment, and they figure out the formula. Yep. This is a stupid question, man. I haven't had a boss in over a decade, so do bosses, bad bosses, dick bosses, still yell? Like a boss that yells at somebody? Because I've seen that. I mean, we've seen it all the time. Like, rah, rah, like.
I have a story.
Is that a thing still?
Yeah. So.
Recent story?
Yeah, my last job. Second to last job. So 8, 9 years ago, whatever.
Okay.
I had 2 jobs, sort of. I went from the law firm. I was a marketing director at this law firm.
Yep.
You guys have heard the story before,
Yeah.
or worked. And then I also worked at a gym part-time, and then I sort of transitioned. Once I left the law firm, I went and worked full-time as the marketing director and head trainer sort of at this gym. Well, the law firm, I worked there for maybe 7 months or so. And so here's the yelling story. So I had my direct boss was the overall firm marketing director of all the locations, right? And I was the marketing, I wasn't marketing director, I was like the head of marketing. I can't remember what my title was, but for here in Syracuse.
Yeah, regional marketing manager.
Something like that. And so she, her and I butted heads a little bit. I would do something and I'd have all these ideas. You guys know me, I'd have crazy creative ideas. And
Nobody's putting the lid on your ideas.
Oh, well, she tried.
Nobody's
sure tried.
clipping your wings.
And we butted heads. So one day I get this call. I'm sitting here at my desk. I can visualize it. I'm sitting here at this desk, and this is a law firm. They deal with crazy security things and governments, and everything's locked down. You have codes to get in everywhere and things like that, right? And I'm sitting here at my desk writing a press release or something like that, and I get this call, and I pick up the phone, and I hear, "John Timmerman?"
Nope.
Click. I was like, "Yep." He goes, "This is so-and-so. This is the owner of the firm, one of the managing partners, founding partners."
I don't like it already.
And he goes,
I hate it.
He goes, "So here you been having some trouble with your superior. He's a military dude,
Of course.
Still active military at the time. He would switch on 1 full year. He'd be running the firm.
Right.
1 full year he'd be deployed or doing something.
He was an attorney,
the other one, he's an attorney.
Okay.
Picks up the phone, "John, heard you been having some trouble with your superior." I said, "Yeah, I've had some ideas, and it cuts me off." And he goes, "Well, listen, I'll tell you what, right now, if you don't get your together and get in line. You're gone. Okay? Got it? I didn't say a damn word, and he just hung up the phone. Like he was saying it louder than that.
Yeah.
Like he was yelling. Literally that day, I was like, yep, I'm quitting.
Yeah.
And I like made my plan in my head. Okay, I'm not going to quit now. I want the paycheck, so here's what I'm going to do. And then I went back to my old job at the gym, and I was like, listen, this shit's not working out. You mind if I come back? Here's what I can help with. Mm-hmm. So yelling is still a thing with a dick boss. And that company culture, to my knowledge, is still the same. They're still growing though. So it's still working in however they're working. You know, they're still successful. They're a big law firm.
That's great. Good for them.
And their turnover is...
I'll literally burn the place to the ground.
Al's going to
mail
go an anthrax letter to him.
Burn it to the ground.
But the turnover there is high.
I'm sure.
I mean, I know attorneys that were promised like partnerships, and they're all gone. All of them. Probably 10 of them.
All comes out in the wash. I remember this job probably 25 plus years ago, telemarketing. I think I was 19, 20 years old, whatever, selling window installs, right? So this was back in the day when we were still using yellow pages or white pages to call out of. Like, here's a book.
Yeah.
You know, start calling.
Ugh.
Here's the script. You're literally sitting in like these cubicles, one next to another. And there was the people there that had been there for a long time, and I don't know, whatever. They just, somehow they made it work. So the boss was this dude who looked like Danny DeVito, but a much younger version of Danny DeVito. Same height,
everything,
hairstyle, the whole deal, right?
Taxi.
And he would he would flip out and lose his shit. He would literally jump up on his desk and start screaming.
Oh my God.
Like a freaking raging lunatic. And I'm like, I don't even think I lasted a week. I turned around, I'm like, what the hell is wrong with this guy?
Yeah.
And then he'd do the same thing, like he was completely bipolar. Like 2 minutes later, somebody would get a sale, and they had like the blue light from Kmart. He'd flip the blue light on and like, oh, Bing. Al got a lead. Ding, 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 ding. And he'd jump out, and he's like, yeah. And I'm like, this dude's nuts.
Out of his mind.
I'm out. Don't need this for nothing.
Gosh.
Like, you're gonna sit there and scream at me because I can't get Mrs. Jones. I mean, there's no real skill set to that. You gotta have somebody just willing to be like, and put on their friendly voice and just get on the phone. I'm like, oh my God.
Somebody ever yelled at me? Like, first of all, I don't think adults should ever yell at other adults.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think people should yell, period. I mean, I don't have kids. I don't know. Like,
unless you kick a rock in their yard.
Unless you kick a rock in their yard, it goes through a window. But like, to me, yelling doesn't ever accomplish anything. Even with, I mean, you guys have kids. Like, is yelling effective? Well, your Trip's not old enough to be yelled at.
Yeah. Well, it's not effective for dogs. I know that.
It's not effective for dogs.
Oh my God.
It's upsetting. You don't yell.
I can't tell you how many. So Michelle and I had this conversation. Like, in the last week, how many people lose their shit and they're yelling at their dogs? And I'm
that's gonna go
you
real
think
well.
that what? Just because you yell at the dog, like the dog's gonna respond in a better way to you?
No.
Yeah, no. And I still like yell, like if they do or barking, like you know, if they go crazy, because Jax is a pit bull, you know, mix, and so he's got a vicious bark, even though he has never bitten anything, or even like he'll get up to you. I mean, you know, he can be scary and bark, and then all of a sudden he's like sniffs your balls, and you're like, all right, dude, and then he walks away, like. But like, I'll yell at him and be like, hey, quiet, you know. So I'll yell, and he'll get his ears down and things like that. And,
so does it work then?
But no.
It doesn't work.
No, because here's what I learned. I just learned this because I've been trying to figure out how to get them to stop barking, and now we're onto dogs now. But
shot collar.
No, those don't work either.
Okay.
Well, I mean, they work, but like not for morale. It's sort of being a boss to your dog.
It's just being a dick boss.
You're a dick owner.
But when you yell at your dog who's barking, they just think that you're barking back at them, and so they bark louder. Like it's just a reaction thing.
That's why I don't have kids or a dog.
Could be a future digital workshop.
Yeah, how to not yell
dog trainer.
How to not the dog whisperer. What's his name there? Antonio Banderas.
Caesar, right?
Oh yeah,
Caesar.
Antonio Banderas. Zorro.
He's the dog whisperer.
Al's gonna come back. He's gonna shave. He's gonna look like Antonio Banderas.
Yeah.
It's just a guitar.
Rabbit hole.
To add some value here to kind of wrap up our podcast, what do you do when your boss is a right? So this is the tricky part. You're gonna have an answer. I'm gonna have a slightly different answer, maybe.
Should we go around the table and say, what do you do? What do you do, Rob, when your boss is a
So I've been self-employed most of my life, but I have had bosses, and depending on my age and my level of maturity, I think I certainly handled it differently.
Current day.
So, I gather the facts,
Oh.
and it's kind of like a game of chess.
God, you guys are way more patient than I am. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it wasn't always the case. Usually I would have been like a juvenile, shithead and be and just said something stupid. But in the long run, that doesn't get us anywhere. So it's like a chess game for me. Yep. Gather the fact. Look, if I'm wrong, I'm just going to say, I'm sorry, I screwed up.
Right.
You're right. But usually if you got a dick boss, that means there's something else going on.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's a chess game.
Chess game.
Gather the facts.
You stay and play chess.
Yep.
So I'd like to preface this by making sure that your boss is actually a and you're just not jealous.
Right.
You're not
Screwed up.
Your ego's
gut
not
check first.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because I would venture to say that's probably 50% of people who think their boss is a
Right.
I know this because when
They're
I was
little
young,
pansy ass.
I thought my boss was a when in reality, that was a story about the head strength and conditioning coach, and I was the assistant, and I was getting all pissed off because he was coming into my groups and I was training them, saying like he would basically come in and be like, okay, doing good, everyone. Like, I would just tell them to do something, and he'd come in and be like, no, actually do it this way, and like here, this is how you do it. And I was getting all pissed off because he's coming in, he's telling my group what to do. Like, I just told them what to do.
That's right. I am the trainer.
And I confronted him one day, and I was like, listen, like, I really don't appreciate you coming in and telling my groups what to do. Like that hurts my authority with them, and it makes them not respect me as much. And he goes, well, that's why my title's the head strength and conditioning coach, and you're the assistant strength and conditioning coach. And until those titles change, I reserve the right to come in and be the head strength and conditioning coach.
But he didn't tell you why he was doing that?
So, no. He just, he said...
I don't like that response. I would have said, well, John, you're having them, do leg lifts, and it's a class of, they can't do the leg. You know what I mean? I would have said
But it was a general... I mean...
So was he being a
Was he being a dick?
Not really. He wasn't...
I think he was being a dick.
You think so?
Well, yeah, because that's not how you say that.
But he wasn't even doing it in a dickish way. Like, he wasn't coming in and saying no, you guys, John, you're doing it wrong, don't do what John says.
You confronted him to be like, hey, I guess, did you confront him with that sort of I don't appreciate this, or did you confront him hey, can we talk?
I probably was a little bit more animated than that.
Yeah, were you being a
I was probably being a little bit of a dick.
Juvenile?
So he was being
I was being ego driven, and he was just caught off guard because I think he was at his computer, and I came in, I was like, listen, I was all jacked up, and
so it was reactive dick.
I think he was just being well, John,
what level are you?
Yeah, I'm about a 9.
I'm about a 9 out of 10.
9 dickery.
So he probably could have been you were doing this wrong, and been more empathetic about it. But I was coming at him pretty hard, and I think he was reacting.
He smacked you with a wet noodle, and you got what you deserved.
Yeah. In hindsight, I looked back, and I was all pissed off and walking out of there with my tail between my legs. But and I was like, yeah, well, that's how the chain of command sort of works. And I'm not the head strength and conditioning coach, and he wasn't coming in like I thought in my head and basically smacking me across the face in front of everybody.
Yeah.
He was doing it in a way that was helpful.
Right.
And so I was like, okay. And I don't even think I apologized later or nothing like that. It's just.
Yep.
Yeah.
So my point is,
Skadoosh.
50% of people should probably check themselves before you're my boss is a this is, whatever. The other half, when your boss is actually
in fact a dick.
My personality is to get the out of there, right? If you can't fix it.
With or without a game plan?
No, with a game plan.
Right.
You're right. I would stem off of what you're saying. So first thing is to identify, is there a way to get above it, right? So I'll use Lindsay's situation. She was trying to suggest that they do things that are very helpful for the agency, literally game changing. One example is they wouldn't hire people until somebody left, until a position was open. So like the position would be open, and then they would start posting jobs. So now they had to wait another month or 2 or whatever to interview candidates, and now the rest of the teams has to pick up the slack, and they're all stressed out. So she was like, why don't we have open job listings all the time collecting, and then when we need somebody, we already have interviewed people. You know, that's how companies work. And they were like, yeah, that's not how we do it. And they were just like, no, right? And that fell on deaf ears, and that was one example. So if that's the case and you can't change anything, have your contingency plan. Make sure you're identifying, how am I gonna make money if I quit? Try not to be emotional about it. Even if you are emotional about it, shut the up and go home and like plan out, the way you're going to do it.
The chess game.
Don't get yourself fired, because then you can't collect unemployment.
No, you actually can.
You can when you're fired.
When you get fired, you collect unemployment. When you quit, you don't.
Right.
Oh.
You do want to get yourself fired.
I thought it's when I thought it's when you're laid off, not fired because of a cause.
Oh. Double fact check that.
Yeah, I have no idea what I'm talking about. I thought if you
the
did
Department of Labor website,
if you flipped out and broke some computers or something like that, or like screamed at your boss and they're like, "That's against company policy, you're fired." I didn't think you could collect unemployment.
You could go and file, and then they've got to decide whether they want to fight it or not.
Okay. Well, try not to do that either way, just in case.
Yeah.
And then figure out, okay, I'm going to start applying for other jobs. I'm going to start my own side gig, whatever it might be, until you're ready, so that you're not caught in a rough financial place or out of a job or something
under the
like
radar, just mind your business.
But quit. Get the out of there. If the culture is toxic, there's no level of pay, there's no level of benefits, there's no progress that can outweigh the stress that you'll take home, what you'll put on your family, what you'll put on the rest of your friends, the mindset that you're in, your sleep, all of that stuff is all affected because you're spending 8 hours a day getting yelled at or getting shit on.
Just thinking of that makes me nauseous. Honestly, I can't fathom.
You've been self-employed for 10 plus years. So prior to that, was there a boss ever?
I never had a boss. I had 2 female boss. My last corporate gig was 2 female bosses, and they were great. There was nothing wrong with them.
Yep.
But I, at the time, didn't love their tone with how they handled things in the office, and it was very like. Remember what was the movie there? Office Space.
Okay.
And they're like, well. Like the
passive aggressive. Well, it's like passive aggressive.
Passive aggressive, but like this dance around what they want. I would rather have them say like, I would rather have had them be more aggressive and been like, this is dog shit or this is not right. We got to do it over. But it's not this dance around. They were, you know what I mean? They were sing-songy, dancey bosses, and it was like, well, that's really not how we do it. And I was like, oh my God, like somebody shoot me and throw me out of my corner office window.
Yeah.
Because if I have to listen to this kind of chit chat, but that could have been, 40% me and, women bosses, and that's a tough dynamic. What I'm telling you, that's a whole nother conversation. And so don't nobody give me shit about it, but like.
No, go ahead, give them shit.
Men and women are very different, Mars, Venus type situations. Mm-hmm. And when that gets, it's a real delicate dance. When there's a female boss over like male workers, and then when there's a male boss over female workers, you've got to switch some things around.
Be careful.
You have to switch some things around because men and women are very different. And I got caught up in that, and I was like, this place is fucking bullshit. And I was like young and totally not prepared.
Stay tuned for our next show on
Men and Women.
What's the book again?
Men are from Mars,
Women are from Venus.
And team, can we get a still of Al with his tongue wagging?
And Al,
and we'll use that for later on.
And Al just flew straight into the sun.
Yeah, and I did. So that was into that, and I just didn't. I was checked out. You know what I mean? Like I was doing my master's at the time, And I was literally I would go to work and do all my work for school at work. And they'd be like, well, you really shouldn't be doing the work here. And I'm like, well, I'm gonna, because I hate everything. But they weren't, we just didn't align.
Yeah.
And that was that. And you know what I did? Quit.
There you
And
go.
that was the last time I ever worked
For anybody.
for somebody.
So there's your advice. Quit.
Quit, however you want to quit. I'm with you. Well, you're staying, apparently. You're staying with playing chess.
Well, while I work on the exit strategy.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
So we're all saying the same thing.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yep. There you have it.
There you have it. So if your boss is a leave some comments below. Probably don't mention their names or their company, but feel free to chat. We'll chat about it.
Tell the stories.
Yeah.
Don't describe them either.
So one thing that I'm 100% sure works for small companies, large companies, if you're a leader out there, is put some ownership into your employees, and they are less likely to think you're a dick. They will cover up micromanaging. It will make them accept it a little bit more. It will make them accept the moves that you make in the company. I will, from experience, even tell you that laying off employees or firing employees when you've been a very empathetic person makes them grateful to have worked there in the first place. Of course, there's the odd ducks that are ego-driven or whatever that will just
Doesn't make a difference.
be pissed.
Yep.
But I can tell you from experience laying off people, when you've been a good person to them, they're still grateful. You could hire them back at a later time if it's a good fit, if they evolve or get better or whatever. So the benefits of being a good person, empathetic, understanding, kind, a good communicator, somewhat transparent, is always a better move long term.
And to just go back to something you said that was very important. Before you say or think or feel that your boss is a make sure that you, in fact, are not
Yeah. Check your ego at the door.
It's possible.
Great parting words. Agreed. Okay, cool. Thanks everyone for watching this episode, this newish format of I'm a Little Buzzed. Make sure you tune in and engage with us. We're here every Tuesday and Thursday at 8:30 p.m. We're going to be changing the format, soon to be live one of these days at 8:30 p.m. Stay tuned for that. But check in, make sure you subscribe on wherever you love listening to podcasts or video shows, because we'll be right here Tuesdays and Thursdays. Until then, cheers, everyone.
Cheers.
To life and business. May we all prosper in both.